Hello, it's Christy with Off the Grid Green Living, and today I would like to talk to you about some of the products I use with my fish. The first product I would like to talk to you about is Seachem's Prime. Prime is a freshwater and a marine conditioner for your fish tanks. It provides a protection. It detoxifies ammonia, chlorine, chloramine, nitrite and nitrates. So I use Prime especially when I'm starting a new aquarium or I'm starting my aquaponic system. Before everything gets balanced, you tend to have ammonia spikes. So it's important to have something like Prime that will detoxify ammonia in the event of those spikes that happen during cycling. I also use Prime throughout the growing season here in my greenhouse aquaponic system because as I remove plants or clean the filters or the fish tank, things can tend to get off balance. So I use Prime to keep everything stable and protect the fish against anything that might get off balance during the growing season. And I especially use Prime in the winter here when I have winterized my grow beds, because I can't grow here in Colorado in the winter. It gets so cold. I have to winterize the grow beds. So during the winter, when all I have are the fish in the tanks and my sponge filter system, I use Prime to keep everything stable. Prime is a very strong concentrate. It only takes one capful, 5 milliliters, for every 50 gallons of water. So here in my aquaponic system with my 85-gallon tanks, I use 1.5 caps. And on my indoor aquarium, which is only about 30 gallons, only half a cap. Whenever I have changed the water and scrubbed things down where there's a potential that things have gotten out of balance, I will use Prime consistently. It says to use Prime every other day whenever you have a situation where your tank could be cycling. Another product that you want to have for your fish, whether you're running an aquarium or an aquaponic system, is something like Stability. I like Seachem's Stability. It's a bacteria that you add to the water to help create that balance between the ammonia that then converts to nitrate and then converts to nitrate and then gets either removed by your water changes or by your plants in an aquaponic system. So you need to have Stability to start that whole system off whenever you start a new tank. I also use Stability whenever I do a major water change or whenever I am cleaning the filters or changing filters out. You want to have Stability or something like that. With Stability and Prime as your base products, you could pretty much grow healthy fish all year round. And with the Stability, when you're first starting a brand new system, it says to add Stability to your fish tank every day. And it takes one capful, 5 milliliters, for every 10 gallons of water. So when you're starting your fish tank, on the first day you actually use one capful for every 10 gallons of water, and then it says to use one capful for every 20 gallons on the second day through the 7 days of your first week. And then after that you can add it once a month for every 20 gallons. So that's the dosage. If you're going to get Prime, Prime is pretty easy. It's just add, the one capful for every 50 gallons. But then you want to have Stability, and you want to make sure you have a lot if you have a pretty big aquaponic system like I do, because you go through quite a bit on your first week when you're starting a brand new system. And then, to maintain it, it only takes one capful for every 20 gallons. It's not that bad to add that every time I do a water change, or once a month typically is when I add the Stability. Another couple products that you're going to want to have on hand for when your fish gets sick is Paraguard, Seachem's Paraguard. It helps to kill the kinds of diseases that your fish can get, like let's say you had a tank get out of balance and you weren't adding the Prime, or you went too long between water changes and your fish got sick because something got out of balance, and you end up getting something like ick, something that is treatable. This Paraguard is the best medication that I have found for my fish. Now, I've used other medication, but I have really preferred Paraguard because in comparing the other medications that I've used, Paraguard just seems to work the best. But one thing that I found with Paraguard, even though it is filter safe and supposedly you can add it to your tanks, as long as it says as long as you remove the charcoal filter or charcoal from your filtration, They say you can add it to your tanks, but I have found personally in my own experience that my sponge filter system gets clogged with the Paraguard during the treatment plan. You usually have to treat your fish for 10 days to 21 days to be able to get them fully removed from the diseases and to give your tank a chance to kill off all the little eggs and things that can be created from whatever parasite or whatever ick or whatever they got sick with. So I typically have to, since I have to treat for a while, I remove my fish from the tanks. I scrub the tanks out, clean the tanks, especially if it's a situation where all my fish are sick. If I only have a couple fish, then I don't worry about as much. I just take the 2 sick fish out and treat them in a bucket. But if I have a whole tank crash situation, I scrub the tank out and then restart the whole system again with, of course, my stability and prime. And then I have my fish treated in a 5-gallon bucket with a little sponge filter and a heater that keeps the water temperature at 76 to 78 degrees. And I add Paraguard every day and the Ammolock every other day in my 5-gallon system. The Ammolock will remove ammonia, and whenever you're treating fish, you don't have a chance to get that filter cycled in a small little bucket like that. So you want to keep the Ammolock in the water to keep the fish from being toxified from the ammonia buildup. And the other thing that you want to do is water change frequently when you're treating sick fish. I do a water change every other day. Add the Ammolock every other day as well with that water change. And then of course the Paraguard, you treat your sick fish every day. And I have had quite a bit of a success treating sick fish with these products. And typically after 21 days, the tank, if the whole tank had crashed, I've cleaned the tank out of any parasites, and then of course the fish have been treated well. So when I put them back in the tank, everything seems to be good after that. The other product that I like to use with both my aquarium setup and my aquaponic system is Stress Coat. Whenever you move fish, it's very stressful for them. Or when you do water changes, it can be stressful. I primarily use Stress Coat for my fish whenever I have done a major clean where I've had to remove them into the bucket and I've scrubbed out the tank and I've cleaned the filters. I don't do that very often, but every couple times a year I have to do a pretty good clean on my tanks because they do get quite a bit of algae buildup and things like that. So whenever I do a big water change and a tank clean like that, then I use something like Stress Coat just to help protect that layer. It protects their fins and it helps rebuild any damage that might have happened on their scales or the fins whenever you move fish out of the tank. You want to have Stress Coat to help them replenish their stress layer that they have on their scales. So Stress Coat is a great product to have, but I only use it whenever I do major water changes or remove the fish for any reason. I also use Stress Coat whenever I have sick fish. It's part of my treatment plan in my 5-gallon bucket. I will add Stress Coat to the bucket system to help replenish the fins of any damage that could have been caused from the disease. So the major products I use whenever I have sick fish is both Stress Coat, Ammolock, and the stability for bacteria, and of course your medication, Paraguard. And that's it. That's what I use to keep my aquaponic system going well with healthy fish. Thanks again for watching. As always, don't forget to like and subscribe and check us out at greenlivingoffgrid.com.